the books themselves are brought by messengers, which is the next. We have to believe in messengers. And the idea of a messenger, a Rasul, is somebody that is sent from God to human beings to give them a message from God, to explain God's intentions or will towards the human being. Both the books and the messengers are understood to be sent by God. Now, there is a response to the messenger, and it is either Iman or Kufr. Now, Kufr, you'll most often see it translated in books as disbelief. Kafir is a non-believer or a disbeliever. That is not a good translation for kufr. The Islamic worldview sees kufr, if you look at the root meaning of it, it is from a root word kafara, which means the active participle in Arabic means a farmer. Because what a farmer does is they cover a seed with dirt. They put a seed into darkness. Now the idea there is that kufr is covering over something. That is the root of it. So in a sense, kufr is seen as truth concealing. The truth is concealed. The idea there is it's really known that a person in truth cannot be a disbeliever from the Islamic perspective. No one can be a disbeliever in truth. And the greatest truth concealer is Iblis in the Islamic worldview. And Iblis was one of the closest to God. So the idea is that really this is not about disbelief. This is about concealment. This is about hiding or covering up. And that's how the Quranic worldview sees truth in relation to how people respond to it. They will either accept it, and that's why they're called acceptors rather than believers. They will accept it, or they will conceal it. Now, there are many ways to conceal the truth, and certainly many, many Muslims are truth concealers in reality. You see, so I can be a Muslim, and here I am doing all my right things and everything, but in reality, I am concealing the truth. The essence of truth concealing is ingratitude. The human being, a kafir, is also called an ingrate. The idea is that if God in His bounty, because the actual idea of sending messengers is good intention. In other words, that God has a good intention towards His creation. That if God simply created the human being, threw away the manual, and just said, work it all out for yourselves. And everybody spends their life in turmoil and darkness and moving out, right? You like Mullah Nasr ad-Din is a character in the Middle East. They tell stories about him. And one of the stories, Mullah, he was in the tavern all night, and he goes out in the early morning, wee hours of the morning, and he's wandering around the city aimlessly. The policeman comes up and he says, Mullah, what are you doing out at this time? And he said, if I knew the answer to that question, I'd be at home in bed. The idea is that this is the state of many, many people. They're literally wandering around in a drunken stupor, and they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. And there are many, many diversions. There are many ways to conceal the truth. Right? Rumi talks about the many wines that God has put on this earth to put people out of their misery. He said Jesus was drunk in the love of God, and his donkey was high on barley. There's many ways that we can deal with the human condition, right? Like John Lennon said, whatever gets you through the night, right? There are many people that have that attitude. I'm just going to get through this, whatever it takes. That, from a Muslim perspective, is a type of ingratitude because the messengers have come. They have given people news. They have given people guidance. That the guidance is there, and that is why the truth concealer is the one who is ingrate. He's an ingrate because he or she is not accepting that truth. And this is the Muslim view of looking at these two phenomena, of how we respond to revelation. Now, another mullah story that kind of is another way of looking at this is that mullah was looking around one day for something, and somebody came by and he said, "Mullah, what are you looking for?" He said, "Some keys I lost." And he said, he starts helping him, and after about an hour or two, he's saying, "Listen, where exactly do you think you lost them?" He said, "Oh, way over there." He said, "Well, what are you looking here for?" He said, "It's better, the light's better over here." Right? So there's an idea also that people will go where it's easy instead of going where it's hard. And this is also a type of truth concealment, to go where it's easy instead of going where it's hard. So the messengers are human beings, first and foremost. And they have a type of capacity that other individuals do not have, although we have a glimpse of it. And this is why the Prophet Muhammad said, a true dream is 1/46th of prophecy. 1/46th of prophecy. And anyone has access to a true dream, including, from the Muslim worldview, somebody who is not a Muslim can have a true dream. And this is an access, it is 1/46th of prophecy. In other words, it is an indication for the human being of the idea that we can know something that has not happened yet. And this happens to people. They will have a dream, a prescient dream, and then the actual it happens. What is that? See, for many people, they don't understand. It happens to people, but they don't understand what it is. Or what we call déjà vu. Right? In French, the idea of, I've been here before. What's going on? This is a type of remembrance. According to the Islamic tradition, we are remembering something. And this is, I think it's related to the Platonic tradition of memory as well. Plato felt that what we were here doing was simply remembering, right? That we are in a state of forgetfulness.